Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's chart preview for this week's watch list. I recently, just in last 15 minutes, did the weekly review for last week's watch list. On the weekly, only one of my three triggered, but it hit its target. The other two did not trigger, so they were not trades and should not have been entered. So 1-0 on the weekly. On the monthly, one of them hit its target, triggered in, hit its target, blew past its target. One of them came real close to its target and pulled back, and the rest, Google was one on there, GOOGL. Google triggered. It's still in play. I did not put it on this week's watch list, but it's still in play for monthly inside up. Um, and I probably should have it on the watch list in case anybody wants to trade it. I just don't like trading that expensive of calls, so I'm not going to trade it. But I'll pull the chart up here so you can see it. Monthly chart. We broke above the previous month. Come back to the weekly chart. Let me try to zoom in a little bit here. So we broke above the weekly chart here. The break was 23.89.05. We hit 23.99.03, so we moved up about $10 at its high and closed at 23.93. So we're still what is it? $4 over the trigger. But the target is about $50 away. For $40 away, so still a lot of meat left on that bone. It's definitely still a tradable and justifiable trade. I just don't like holding that much overnight, so for that reason, probably will not be trading this again. I did trade it Friday, Thursday or Friday. I traded it when it broke above this. Let's see what day it was. I'll tell you right here. Friday. I did trade this on Friday. I got out right about at this pivot, so real close to the highs. Made about 10% or so. I think it was like $1,400 per contract. I made about $140 on it, and for me, I'm happy. I'm not worried about holding. I'd like to hold this to max because it's probably, if you played this week's calls, you could potentially be looking at maybe a $3, $4, or $5,000 winner. But to hold this overnight, I could wake up the next morning to $3,000 down. So it's probably going to be, if you bought this week's expirations, let's say the 2430s. Let's take a look. The June 11th 2430s. Friday they were trading at $1,000. So I guess it's not as bad. I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll trade it. We'll have to see. I'll have to see how the chart looks. I was thinking it would be more like $3,000 for a contract. So we'll see. I may get back into it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But the reason I call it 2430s is because that would be the target. The target is 2431, so I would trade the 2430 calls. And if this hits 2430 by the end of the week, I'd say you could probably easily triple your money if you bought them. If you bought these tomorrow or Tuesday and it runs up here by the end of the week, I think you could at least double your money, and probably more. So if your account size is big enough and your risk tolerance is great enough, this is definitely something to watch. So let's go to this week's list. Here's this week's list. I'll go over it. I'll post this on Twitter, and I'll go over them in the video here. You see I have inside week ups. I don't typically look for Rev Strats on my scans, only because I like trading inside candles, and I usually get enough of those on my list that I don't need to worry about other setups, but these were on my list last week for weekly for inside week, but that inside week turned into 2 downs this current week. So these are potential Rev Strats back to the upside. If we break above last week's high, these would be potentially Rev Strats to the upside. So these were on last week's list. I'm going to leave them on this week's list for potential Rev Strats. And then we have, these are still in play. Google should be on this list. Let me go ahead and put it on there. Just because I'm going to put this out on Twitter, and if anybody just glances at it without watching the video, I want them to see Google above 2389.05. Target 1 is 2431.38. So I'll go ahead and leave that on the list. These are still in play. They were on last week's list for the monthly charts. I won't do much reviewing these. I'll just glance over them real quick. Since I already covered them last week and I covered them in the previous video this morning, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these, but I will cover these a little bit more in detail. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the first one is CRM. And these are weekly charts that we're going to look at. CRM on the week, you see we have an inside week, a hammerish candle. I hate to call it a hammer because a hammer is the bottom of a trend, but we could call it a momentum hammer, a Momo hammer. The other thing I like about this is if you look at the TTM squeeze down here, we just started, we weren't in a squeeze, but we just started coming above. Light blue, the most aggressive is the light blue. The second most aggressive is the yellow. And you see we have 2 light blues here. So we're just starting to come up into positive momentum. So I do like that. We have a Momo hammer candle, which is bullish. Even though it's red, it's still a Momo hammer. Entry would be, a trigger would be above 238.40, and you can see my white line here. You can see it there. I just scroll over. Here's our broadening formation. The first target is 243.50, 243.52 is first target. So I actually think it does say 240. Oh, that's the wrong one. 243.52 is the first target. So, yeah, that actually is 244.50, 243.50. All right, let me fix that. I was right the first time. So, entries 238.40. First target is the high of this candle. And how I got this, I mean, you can see it works out on a weekly also, but I came back to the daily, and first target's the top of this candle, which was the high of last week. If you go back further, we have this target. We could also go to third target up here. I'll leave that up to you if you want to go back that far. If you wanted to go even further, you could even come all the way back to here. But this is only a weekly chart. It's not likely we're going to run $30 in a week. It can happen, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'd be happy getting out up here, once we trigger. So CRM, you can see the broadening formation. Our new candle starts here. To hit the top of the broadening formation, we would pass target 2. So that would be a pretty good candidate for a target, although I'd probably get out just before target 1 just because of my conservative nature. So that's CRM. That's the first one we're looking at. CVS. And let me go back to CRM. Look at the monthly chart. CRM we had an outside candle for the month, and right now we're closer to breaking the high of last month's, breaking last month's high than we are breaking last month's low. So I'm a little bit leaning a little bit more towards the upside on this one, and that's why I'm not looking for anything to the downside. That doesn't mean you can't trade it if it breaks the downside. You know, if it breaks down below here, then yeah, it's definitely in play for here. But I just don't like that trade. CVS weekly chart. We had an inside week. It's a doji candle, broadening formation. You come back to the daily chart. Here's our broadening formation. The weekly chart, a break above the high of this candle, which is 87.30. Then we come back to our daily for our targets. First target above here would be this candle, which is 88.08. Not a huge move, but it's still something we'd have to consider. Second target 88.90. Third target is 89.82. And the fourth target is 90.61. So that's CVS. DraftKings is the next one, and DraftKings isn't real high on my list. I believe it was it DraftKings? No, it was Facebook. DraftKings, come back to the daily chart. You can see the broadening formation. We're kind of right in the middle of it. Double inside day, but we had a green day Friday. You come out to the monthly, we're still inside month, which is pretty common this early in the month. Most stocks are going to be inside month, only one weekend. So we go to the weekly. Break above this candle is your entry at 51.02. First target, we come back to the daily. First target is this candle here, 51.92, which is the high of this candle. Second target's the high of this candle at 53.51. Third target is 55.82. Fourth target's 57.61, and you can continue to go back further if you'd like. For me, that's a $6 move in a week. That's that's good for me. So I'm good with that. I'd like to see this flip to a yellow candle to show we're starting to get some positive momentum. What these are in a TTM squeeze, and if you're interested in it, I'll let you read up on it and research it. But the light blue is, I actually changed the colors over here. I should change them over here too. I changed them to green to indicate green. I just didn't do it on this one here. The light blue, this is the default settings when you first open it, and it's available on Thinkorswim. It's not. I don't believe it's available on E-Trade or Schwab or any other, most other brokerages. The light blue shows positive momentum, positive gaining momentum. Dark blue is positive slowing momentum. So the momentum's still positive, but it's slowing. Some people may say that the dark blue is the second, this is the strongest bar of the TTM squeeze. Some people may say the dark blue is the second strongest because it's positive. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as yellow is the second strongest, because even though it's negative, it's still building momentum. So in my opinion, the yellow is a better, the second best. Obviously the red is the weakest. It's negative momentum to the downside, which is what you'd want to see if you're playing shorts or puts. The other is, just the four colors. So that's what I'm looking at there. I'd like to see on the weekly chart. We do have it on the daily chart. We do have the light blue on the daily chart, so that's a good sign. The last 3 days, it's been building positive momentum on the daily. Hopefully that carries over to the weekly and we start seeing some yellow candles. So DraftKings, Facebook. My issue with Facebook is it's near all-time highs, so it's going to be difficult to know your exit. You're going to have to either use a trailing stop or move your stops up manually, or look for a reversal on the 60, maybe on the daily. The daily might be tough if you're trading options. You could be up 20%, and if you wait for a reversal on the daily, you could end up being down. So that's why I say 60. You don't know. We don't really have a target per se for this thing. So if we look at we have an inside candle. The break of the inside candle, the trigger is 332.46, which is the high of this candle. We come down to the daily, and we have target one is this candle here, which is 332.87. It's only a 40-cent range, not much at all. The next one is 333.78. Again, still not much range, only a little over $1. After that, you're at all-time highs, so you don't really have anything up here to gauge magnitude, which is why I said I probably won't trade this one. It may come to here and fall back. It may come to here and fall back. It may come to here and fall back. We don't know. And because of that, I probably won't trade this one. I may trade it, but if I do, it's going to be a tight stop. And if it has any kind of pullback at all, I'm going to be out. So, but I'm putting it on here because it may run $5 tomorrow. We don't know. Just something to watch for. MGM on a weekly chart, we were down on Friday. It's a 2 up, but it's still red. We look at the monthly, it's still inside, it's red. Here's our broadening formation. We come to the weekly chart. Broadening formation was drawn off of here. And I haven't been using broadening formations as much lately, but I'm starting to use them more because I'm trying just to add to my toolbox. Weekly is a red inside candle. It's a little on the weak side. This could be traded to the downside. Not saying it can't. In fact, I will put this on here because this could very well go to the downside. Inside, weak down. 42.28. Create an alert. I forgot to copy that when I did that. Inside, weak down. I'll copy it now. Add or below. And targets here would be, we're kind of right at this one, so I'm not really going to use these as targets. I'll put this one as the first target. T1, inside, weak down. And T2, oh. Inside, weak down. Now you could use other, $40 is going to be a psychological level, so you could use that as a level. You could also come down to the 60 or even the 4 hour. Come down to the 60 and here's your you have a pretty big, actually that's not a big gap at all, it's only 50 cents. Pretty big gap from this one to this one. You could use the 60 and say, okay, here's a low, here's a low, here's a low, all the way down to here. So you could do it either way. It's up to you how you want to do that. But that's what I'm looking for on MGM. That's what I'm looking for on MGM. Targets to the top side are going to be tricky. I do have a measured move target here. What that is you take, and it's pretty consistent, and it's a pretty good indicator. I don't use the wicks. I use the body, so roughly $40 to $42.89. So let's say $2.80. This next move, if it breaks to the upside, should be $2.80. So you add $2.80 to your 43.62, puts you right about here for your target. It's not foolproof, but it's pretty accurate. So that's I put a target up here for that. MGM, DG. Not quite as excited over DG, but we'll see. We're an inside month, of course. Inside year. The weekly, we're inside on the week, but the daily, we've had 3 nice days up reversal. So we come back to the weekly. If we break 206.97, the first target's going to be 208. We come down to the daily. First target's 208. Second target is all the way up here at 211. And again, you can come down to the 60 if you want to find a target in between. If you don't want to hold it that far, you could put a trail stop, whatever you want to do on that. You can come back here. You could find another target. Here would be a pivot high target. You can have the high of this candle as a target. So different ways of doing it. It's up to you. That's how I would look at it. And then let's look at the Rev Strats. These are the ones that were inside candles last week. You see the inside candle. Still have my markings on here. You see I had targets here for inside week up. I left them on there. But now since last week, this inside week did not trigger. We had our 2 down, but it's a little bit of a hammer candle. So now when you see bullish momentum building here on the weekly. So now I'm looking for a Rev Strat, a 1-2-2 reversal. Here's your 1, here's your 2 down. Now I'm looking for 2 up. Above 142.80 would create that Rev Strat. The first target, we come down to the daily chart. The first target is going to be the high of this candle, which is 143.68, about an 80-cent move. Second target is going to be 144.58, the top of this candle. And then after that, we're looking at previous highs. We've already, it looks like we've already filled this gap. Low was 144.50. Yeah, we've already filled this gap. So this gap's filled. That play's done. But if it wants to continue up, we're looking at 147.50 for the inside week up from last week target. And I don't want to call it inside week up because I don't want to confuse people. These targets here, as far as last week's inside candle are concerned, these targets are dead. But for the Rev Strat for this week, these are still targets. I just didn't change the name of it. So these are still legitimate targets for the Rev Strat. So that's Walmart. And Lowe's is the other one that was an inside last week. And inside, it did not trigger to the upside like I wanted. It looks pretty bearish still. I don't see any sign that it's going to pull back to the upside, but target on this to the downside with a 2-1-2. First target's going to be this line here, which is the bottom of this candle. Not this line necessarily, but the bottom of this candle, which is 186.38. So you're looking at about a $3 drop from here. I wouldn't enter this because this is already your entry was way up here. I just wouldn't play this to the, I wouldn't say I wouldn't play it to the downside. I just don't like it yet to the downside. Now, if we break below this, then I might start looking for something to the downside because we have a lot of targets here to take out, a lot of stops to take out to get down to here. So if we break this, I may start looking at an entry to the downside, which I think would also give us a 2 down on the month, a 3-2 down on the month. And you see the target here is down at 150.70, which coincides with this level here. So if we break this, I could very well see us coming down to 150.70. I realize that's a very big move. That's a $40 move from where we're at now, but it could happen. So if we do happen to go back up tomorrow, and you see the weekly TTM looks pretty bad, daily TTM, it's just starting to build bullish momentum, but it's still not a very pretty chart for the bulls. So I'm not going to be too aggressive on this one. If I do get in this one, it's going to be very light with tight stops. So you see we have, if we do break above this, 196.10, come to the daily chart to find our targets. First target is going to be right here at 197.84. Second target here at 198.70. Third target here at 202.22. So that's it for the weekly, any weekly charts that I have, any weekly things I have on my watch list. This is the monthly. Let's look at American on the monthly. These are still in play because obviously the month's not over yet. Inside month up. These were on my list last week. Target was 26.09. We hit 26.04, 5 cents away. In my mind, if you got in this trade and didn't take profits here, you probably should have. I usually set my sell orders just a little bit short of my target because this happens more often than you would probably think. We get right to the target, almost to the target, and the bears take over. I'm pretty sure if I would have traded this, I would have been out close to here. And you can look at my video the other day for Tilray. I also did it for Google. I have pivots. You can come over here and see on my 15-minute chart. I use pivot points. That's these green lines. And I use these for targets a lot in my trades. And I got out of Tilray and Google just before it reached the target, reached one of these pivot points. I didn't wait till it hit the pivot point. I got out just before. And you see, let's look at Tilray. I think I traded that maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Actually, I think I held it overnight. The problem is these don't go back past the previous day. And these are the same for every time frame. If I put them on this chart, put them on the daily chart, they're still going to be at the same price level, so I only have them on one chart. I can't go back and see where they were last week, but anyway, you watch my Tilray video that I did the other day. I believe I showed it on there and illustrated. My target, or my sell, was just below that pivot, and we got right to it, and we turned around and came back. In fact, I think I sold it $4.35. I think the high was $4.50. So I do like to use these pivots, and I do like to sell just before the pivots. So let's go back to what we're looking at, American. So this one, like I said, I would have taken profits on this. I'm pretty sure if I would have entered it, I would have been out and made money on it. The next one is Lowe's, still in play on the monthly chart. We have an inside month currently. I don't know, why is this still in play on a monthly chart? We had an inside month. I may have messed this one up. This may have been, you know what, I think this was supposed to be on a weekly. And I had it on the monthly. So Lowe's, Rev Strat, I must have had it set up for inside week last week. And somehow I put it under the monthly. So let me move that. So yeah, as far as a monthly chart goes, Lowe's is not in play. We had an outside month. We had an inside week last week, or 2 weeks ago, with a down last week. So I already covered this last time. We're looking for Rev Strat to the upside. Walmart. Um, I think I did the same thing on Walmart. I think what I did is I titled it wrong. Instead of being inside or still in play on a monthly chart, I meant to put they're in play on the weekly chart, and I put it under the wrong heading. So yeah, let me take that one off of there too. I actually have these listed twice. So yeah, I have, and the targets, the entry and the target I have listed for them coincides with these Rev Strats. So I think I just put it under the wrong heading. Google, still in play, inside month to the upside. I talked about this in my last video this morning. Looking for the 1-2-2, 2-1-2 continuation. Could be a nice payday. I talked about it, I think, in this same video earlier. So that's it for this week's list. Pull this down here again so you can see the updated, because I did take, let me just make sure American, I didn't screw that one up too. I probably would have caught it if I did. Yeah, American was inside month, so that's, this could, I would still set an alert here, and if it breaks back above it, look for another entry back up here. But here's my updated one. I had these two here, Walmart and Lowe's. I had them down here also, and I think I just accidentally put them in here instead of up here. So I hope that didn't cause any confusion. So anyway, that's my list for this week. I'll put this up on Twitter. Thanks for watching the videos, and comment below if you have any questions, any comments. If these are helping you and you're making money on them, please put a comment in there so I know. That gives me motivation to keep doing these videos. Sometimes, especially with summer, it's harder to find time to do them. But if I know you guys are making money on them and you're enjoying them, then I'll keep doing them. Otherwise, if I don't hear any feedback, I may skip a week or two here or there if if I'm busy. But if you guys like them and I know that you like them, then I'll make sure I find time to do them. So anyway, doing these early this morning because I'm going to be busy the rest of the day. Don't know what time I'll get back tonight. Don't know. We're going out on the boat today and being out in the hot sun. By the time I get back tonight, I might be pretty worn out and just not in the mood to do one of these. Not really feeling up to it. So I wanted to get it done this morning before that. But that's the kind of stuff, we spend a lot of time in the summer on our boat, and sometimes we get back late on Sunday evenings, and it just don't really feel like coming down here doing a video. So I'll try to do them Sunday mornings. But like I said, if you guys comment, thumbs up, like, whatever, and let me know that you're enjoying these, let me know that they're helping you, I'll make sure I find time. I'm just trying to pay it forward. I've learned a lot over other people through the years, and now I'm just trying to help others. So if it's helping you, great. I hope it is. Just leave a comment so I know. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later, and good luck this week. Thanks. Bye.